Welcome, everybody, to an impromptu live stream. This is the second one I'm attempting today. The first one totally failed. So apologies for that. I felt totally bad because there were about 100 people in the stream that logged on. So I thought I would fire it up again, and maybe some people will tune in, but we shall see. Yeah. So the reason I started streaming earlier was I was testing out some new software and it crashed and burned pretty bad. So I'm actually streaming now using what I typically use, and that's StreamYard. Okay, so some people have refound the stream. Yeah, so in this stream, I thought I would talk about why I've been selling bikes left and right. If you guys follow us on the gram, then you know I sold my crust to Don, who's in the chat. Hopefully you've built it up. I also sold my polyvalent to a woman in Richmond, and she had it repainted. Looks beautiful, brand new bike. And most recently, I sold the titanium bear claw. It's a bike that I thought was going to be the one, and it fit great. It rode great, but there were just a couple things, namely the internal routing, which just bothered the crap out of me. So yeah, that actually went to a guy in Pasadena. So I'm stoked to see the bikes all find good homes. Yeah, so Leaf Eric says to pay alimony. No, just no, not yet. Just got married, actually. So not for alimony. And Benjamin here, if you want to sell your Sklar frame, I will take it off your hands. I've only had the Sklar for maybe a month or two, so not quite ready to sell it. Random one asks, any tips on how to sell bikes safely? That's a good question. Typically I've used Craigslist, but it's terrible, right? You get all these inquiries, and then when you try to actually arrange to sell the bike, it's usually like a no-show, or it could be a scam. I'm not really on Facebook, so I didn't use Facebook Marketplace. For these bikes, I decided to just try Instagram, of all things. So, I mean, we have a pretty okay following in Instagram, and I just put up on stories, and it was, they usually sold within the day. So my tip to you is create an Instagram following, and then you can sell stuff too. So Don says, Bambora build is complete, and it's awesome. Great. I'm so glad it's working out for you. Hopefully it fits better. I remember when we did the Bike Whisperer consult, you had issues with the bars potentially being too low. So hopefully there was enough steer tube that you could get the bars up. So Giancarlo Espio asks, you have found the one bike to rule them all. The answer is sort of. So the bike or bikes, I am keeping one other bike that I am keeping is the Sklar. And the reason I ended up going with the Sklar is because it has, it doesn't have like groundbreaking geometry. It's just really solid. I like that it has adjustable chainstay, so you can, fudge with the wheel and tire size and make it spicier or less spicy. But it's just a good representation of like a dirt-oriented road bike. And it has external routing, which you guys know I love. I also sized it up, like the Bambora that I had and that Don bought was just a size too small for me. So this just fits better. It actually fits really similar to the Bear Claw Thunderhawk, which I love, but has internal routing. So it's kind of has a fit of the Bear Claw, the right of the Bambora, and then external routing for easy changes that I need to run a YouTube channel. Let's see. Don says, tell us you're not moving to Europe. Well, to sort of spill the beans, Laura and I are going to make the jump across the pond and see how it goes. Don't know if it'll be forever. Our goal is to at least stay there for at least a year. Our plan is to go to Spain, apply for a visa there, and give it a year. There's just a lot of European stuff we haven't had a chance to cover. So things like Eurobike, there's a ton of really cool shops in the UK like the Wood Cyclery is one that we know of. There's a New Forest Club also in England. And yeah, there's a cool bike shop in Paris that now sells Rivendell's. So hopefully we'll get a chance to check them out. And it's just, a big brand new world of bike nerdiness. I think my biggest concern, or our biggest concern in terms of making content for the channel when we moved to Spain, is when we were in Girona. It could just be Girona, but it was like uber roady. It didn't have quite the same volume of bike weirdos that we're used to in the United States. So we're gonna have to find those people. Yeah. So Stills Hunter, yes, moving to Europe. Yep, moving to Spain. Confirmed. We've been kind of hinting at it. If you're on our if you're a Patreon supporter, then I think Laura in her latest post mentioned, or just said, that we're trying to give Spain a go. So yeah. So, thank you, Brandon. Yeah, it should be very cool. Kind of scary also. My Spanish is not the best. We're going to have to reestablish all our connections, all our industry connections. Just when we've got things kind of dialed here in the States where we can get product fairly easily to review, we're just going to be starting from scratch. Also, I've heard Spain is particularly terrible for receiving packages. Like, it gets lost. There's VAT and all sorts of taxes and everything. So it's going to be a challenge. So Ashley says, come to Seattle. There are tons of bike weirdos. Yes, there are. I love Seattle. We might, I know that we're going to be going to the Made show in Portland. If you guys don't know, it's they're assembling a bunch of cool brands and independent bike builders. It's kind of like the North American Handmade, well, not quite like NABS, but Oregon used to have the Oregon Handmade Bike Show, which hasn't happened for a couple of years. And the folks at Echoes are putting one together in August. So yeah, we will be in Portland at least for that. You might make a foray into Seattle at some point too, also, but we shall see. Yeah, James, Girona, meh, not impressed. Yeah, it's not for everybody. If you don't like bikes and good food and castles, it's not for you. Yeah, so we've got that big move. We're slowly putting the pieces together. There's still a lot of things like health insurance, what we're going to do with the business. I talk about being a sticker salesman and selling merch, which pays the bills. This is like more reliable than AdSense. That's why we're always slinging stickers, and that's going to pose a real logistical problem, to say the least. It would suck to lose that source of income during the move. We're starting to dabble with some print on demand stuff, shirts and mugs, but we also want to have like really unique products that no one else can get. So we had a meeting today with a fulfillment center in Missoula. So some locals, and, we met with them and they're like, okay, we sell a lot of stickers. Are you guys willing to ship stickers? And yeah, so hopefully that'll happen. We'll still have a merch store. It'll be run by this local fulfillment center, and they seem like cool guys. One of them's a cyclist, like their second command. Yeah. So it says, Spain, without the grizzly bears, what's the incentive to pedal fast? To eat jamón. Yeah. Looking forward to new. Yeah, like another reason I wanted to go, or want to move to Europe, is I think I want to do more painting and artwork. And not that Montana isn't beautiful, it is, but I just feel like the landscape, the architecture. I was just feeling a lot more inspired to paint and make art while we were in Girona last year. So if you don't follow my painting Instagram, it's the the peddling painter on so many P's on the grams, and that's my art specific bike journeys. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, ask that. Let's see. So what are your thoughts on your experience living in California versus Montana? That's a great question. So some of you may or may not know, I grew up in Southern California, Burbank, Glendale specifically, went to UCLA, moved to Long Beach. That's where I met Laura. And then from there, we, sold everything, traveled by bike, moved to Portland, and now we're here. I think, I'll tell you what we've liked about living in Montana or Missoula specifically, and then some of the things that we don't like. We'll do that. Pros and cons of living in Missoula, Montana. First big pro is, it's fairly small when compared to the Valley. It does have that kind of Norman Rockwell-esque, like small town vibes still. At the same time, it has the benefit of being a university town, so there's some arts and culture and eclecticness. It's probably one of the more cosmopolitan cities in Montana. I think the population is like 50,000. So, decent size, small compared to other places, but large compared to other places in Montana. Another thing that we really like is the access to the outdoors. Like you guys see on the channel that we're always riding on these gravel roads. It's because they're super accessible. It used to be when we lived in Long Beach, we'd have to take the river trail for like 30 miles before we found some dirt or something. But here, within like 5 minutes, we can connect some trails and get on some gravel roads. So it's awesome for that. Definitely love the access to outdoors. The riding, the fishing, the birding. Absolutely awesome for that. The downsides, why we're leaving is winters are really, really long. Like we kind of knew that coming in, but this last winter just destroyed my spirit. It was so long, and having a YouTube channel about riding bikes, it's really difficult to just make things up for 8 months out of the year. I do like bike adjacent things, still trying to be relevant and not getting a chance to really ride bikes. So from just like a content perspective, a business perspective, it's like there's all these cool products to review. But when you're not riding for 8 months, like I have to cram everything into 2 or 3 months. So there's very little like riding for myself. When the riding is nice, it's always like, I got to shoot the B-roll. I got to review this product. So having such a condensed content creation window, it's just untenable. I'm really tired. I'm tired of making bike adjacent content up during the winter, and I'm tired of trying to cram all the things into 2 or 3 months. James, aren't the winters pretty in Montana and Missoula? Hell no, they are not sunny. It's like Portland but colder. Yeah, Ashley, Spain is warmer than Montana. That is a plus. It's funny. It's like there's this weird thing where there's lots of great outdoor access in Montana, but I've just never got into the snow sports. I've actually lost a lot of fitness living here, which seems bananas because you can do all these outdoor things. But like during the winter, I just hole up, do painting. I've just hit my limit in terms of the cold. So, excuse me. So that's a con. Another con is, it's not a great foodie destination. If you like good food, like we cook a lot, just because a lot of the restaurants in town are just, they're good enough, but there's nothing great. And it's hard after coming from Portland to here that it's got like such amazing restaurants. It sounds like such a shallow thing to say, but it's nice to eat other people's food sometimes. So Let's see. Yeah, and in terms of riding, like the roads are generally quieter, but the traffic speeds are so much faster here. That's one thing. Like, if you want to do a really long ride, you got to go on the paved road, and I just don't trust the drivers in Montana. I'm sure they're fine, but it's hard to tell when they're buzzing by you at 80 miles per hour. Yeah. He said he went to UCLA. Did he say what he? You can ask me. You don't have to ask other people. This is live. Yeah, I studied contemporary American literature. I wrote my thesis on Vladimir Nabokov. So yeah, hence all the English major jokes on the channel. Let's see. Europe will be wide open with crazy cycling groups. It's so varied. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. I think we're gonna start. There's this phrase in Spain, tranquilo, which means like calm down or be chill. And I think we might start a Team Tranquilo ride or something like that, or cafe afuera, so like coffee outside, Spanish style, but we'll see. Design prototype tests. Are you going to get a cargo bike in Amsterdam? That seems like the European thing to do. We've been talking to Omnium. They've been making those really cool front loaders. They have a really awesome looking Thai one with like a short wheelbase. They were supposed to send one here. That kind of fell through. I think I'm going to revisit that once we're on the other continent. Might be easier to ship and stuff. But I think, since Girona is going to be more urban than Missoula, I might actually mix in some urban city bikes, some urban riding. So it should be interesting. Nice. All right. Someone else familiar with Nabokov. So Cora works. Have you tried the pool noodle trick? I know about the pool noodle trick. If you guys don't know, it's when you take a pool noodle and tie it transverse across a rear rack, so it acts like a giant foam feeler, with the idea that a car won't hit you. And no, I have not tried it because I think I don't want to say dumb, but I think it's dumb that we have to do that. It should be that people just try not to hit you, So Brandon asks, did you consider any other U.S. cities to move to? How did you settle on Spain? Good question. Yeah, we thought long and hard. Whenever we travel, there's a part of us that's like, oh, can we live here? We went to Steamboat. That was kind of cute, but then again, winter. We really like, if we had like infinite money, like if we were making like Seth bike hack money or GCN money, we'd probably give San Luis Obispo a try. That's where we got into touring, like that whole Central Coast with the Los Padres, just absolutely beautiful. Lots of dirt roads, lots of stuff to explore. But dang, you have to be like independently wealthy or some kind of baller to live in San Luis Obispo. And yeah, unless you have like 8 roommates or something. How do we settle on Spain? So Laura did a study abroad there during college, and she really liked it. Post-college, I did a backpacking trip with my college roommate and really enjoyed it. So we'd always had kind of aspirations to at least travel back there. And then that's what we did last October. Spent a month in Girona, really enjoyed it. I love the food, love the riding, tons of bike shops. I mean, there's something like 20 bike shops in that small town. Maybe like a dozen on the side of the river that we were on. We didn't even get a chance to go visit them all. And yeah, it's mostly the promise of warmer weather. So a longer riding season. I do know it gets hot. It's also really humid compared to where we've lived. So that's going to be a challenge. But yeah, just, hoping for a change. Let's see. We explore all the belt drive options in Europe. Yeah, I'm open to it. I always get asked about questions like what's it called? The pinion and the roll off. I think they're all fine. It's just they're never put on bikes that I want to ride. They're usually like a trekking bike or like a weird mountain bike or something, but not just like a road/gravel bike. So, so Brian, I'm from Slow, live with 18 room. Am I right? Like, I think we checked the rent once and it was just bananas. Like, yeah, not possible. Will PLP continue? Yes, definitely, for sure. I think it's, I don't want to say we've like tapped out all the weirdo, interesting bike stuff in the US. That's clearly not the case. I think like the Radavus has a good handle on that stuff here. So I feel like by going to Europe and focusing on just sourcing things out there, looking for interesting stories, that's where we can add kind of a new dimension that's not online yet. I know the weirdo cyclists are out there. We just got to find them. Let's see. Enjoy this channel quite a bit more than Seth's Bike Hacks. Thanks, Jonathan. Seth, it's amazing what he has built. With the channel wise and the trails and his awesome garage. He's definitely in terms of a model YouTuber, he's definitely one that I look up to. So, Evenji Amelchenko, my dream was to travel Camino. Yes, I've heard of it. There's actually a few different Caminos from what I understand. We will probably ultimately end up doing one because it seems like a popular search topic. So definitely look for that. Pedal driven, did you keep any of your bikes? Yes. So I kept the Sklar. Laura is going to fly over with her breadwinner, the G Road. See, unlike me, Laura's very content with just riding one bike. I can't just do one bike. So, but initially I'll fly over with the Sklar, but I'm also going to bring over the Rivendell. That's a bike I'll probably never sell. I'm going to have that put in a bike case, and when we have family visit, there'll be our mule to bring that second bike over. So yeah, I did keep some bikes. So Andy Holmes, we scoped out local bike packing and touring routes. We did a little bit while we were there. If you go back through the channel, we did a really fun one out to Carradice, very short. You could do it in a day, but basically from Girona to Carradice, it's this cool little Mediterranean village by the sea. Whitewashed buildings. There's a Salvador Dali spent time there. I think he got married. No, he didn't get married there, but he had a beach home, and there's like a museum for him there. So that was pretty cool. I know there's a larger route called the Pyrenexus that goes, through Girona. So that's one to look up. Since starting the channel, are you pleased or disappointed in the direction of the industry? You can't tell. I'm both. I'm stoked that bike packing and bike touring has become more popular. I'm kind of disappointed in just in the components they're making. I think they're overcomplicating it. I don't think they're really adding new value. They're just, like in the interview with Grant, it's like they're on the publishing schedule. They got to tweak something just to sell it and keep the whole machinery moving forward. Whether it's an actual improvement or not is debatable, but it's just the bike industry. So design, prototype, test. Not only is slow rent insane, there's nothing available. To get a place, you have to live in your car for 2 to 6 months, checking all the listings so you can jump on it within an hour. Yeah, it's bananas. And the only way that we'd be able to live in slow is if we were making GCN money. So Ian says, try Camino del Cid. Did it this year. Awesome on bike. Do you know which part of Spain that is? So Sparky, did you come across any European-made bikes you can't get here? Yes, I've been making a list of interesting bike brands. There's one in Barcelona called Brau Cycles, BRAU, and they make a cargo bike that folds. And if you imagine like a Brompton, but then you welded the front end of a Omnium cargo bike, that's essentially what it is. So that's a pretty cool one that's in Barcelona. I know in Barcelona, there's actually a bike shop called Gravel World, where it's all gravel bikes. Imagine a new bike shop with just gravel bikes. That's all they do. So that's pretty cool. Hope to do a shop visit there. Most of the other brands I'm familiar with are based in the UK. So there's Stooge. I think he's doing some really interesting things in like the ATB / mountain bike world. So we've been in contact. Hope to get a hold of a Stooge. What else? Yeah, there's a bunch. I made a list somewhere. I don't know where it is. Let's see. What are you going to use for locks? I'm probably going to bring my Abbas folding lock that I've had for like 8 years. So hasn't failed me yet. Any track bikes or fixed gear bikes in your steed? No. But I have ridden fixed before, back before it was cool. If you look up fixed gear gallery, if you're old school, I've got a bike listed there. That was back in, I don't know, 05, 04, 06. So those were my fixie days. Yeah. And once we get to Spain, we have to do something with GCN. So funny enough, one of our videos when we were in Girona, I think we were going to Els Angels. We ran into the GCN crew. They were filming. It was like Oliver and Adam, I believe. So we talked to them at the top, and I was like, "Have you ever heard of Party Pace?" And they're like, "What? Who are you?" Totally forgot to give them a sticker, but since then, someone on our Discord actually linked to a GMBN video where the presenter used the word party pace. So, within the offices, some people have heard of it. Yeah, Temple Cycles, familiar with them. They make some cool stuff. There's another brand called Rune. Dean asks, plans to visit Taylor Finney paint studio in Girona. Yeah, you know what? When we were there last year, I'd been messaging with Taylor about doing some kind of interview, but we were only there for a month, and there was just like so much going on. But I think since we're going to be there for longer, during a quieter part of the year, then we'll make a visit. Although I think he DJs also, so a man of many talents. We might have to talk about, his spinning as well. Should be interesting. Will he get a new? Yes, it's actually one thing I've been a little bit bummed about. I've spent the last, 4 or 5 years since doing the channel, working on bikes, reviewing products, like acquiring all the bike tools or some really nice bike tools, and gotta get rid of them all. So the bike stands, derailleur hanger gauge, torque wrenches, all that stuff. Just giving to friends locally. So it's a bummer. Yeah, I like this. Camino means road. Yes, it means road. You can walk it and you can bike it, turns out. So caminar is to walk, but Camino is road. What was a bike that you wish you could have back? Let's see. You know, I was wondering if I'd made a mistake selling the Bear Claw because I did really enjoy it. And again, like the biggest reason I sold it was the stupid internal routing. If I had purchased the review version that was externally routed and it had a slightly shorter chainstay, then I probably wouldn't have sold it. But the one I ended up buying, they made some geometry tweaks. They put in the internal routing, and I thought I could get over it after a year. But every time I looked at the bike or had to work on the bike, it just bugged me. So, so Andrew asks, I hope you do a review on singular bikes. I have. I reviewed a singular. It's on the channel. Pashley, I've not reviewed yet. So, yeah. I should talk about some things that are coming up in the near future. Let me get my screen share going on here. Screen share. Where is it? I think it's Firefox. Okay. So, while all you guys are here, talk about some of the things that are coming down the pipeline. One of them that I'm pretty excited about is the new Microshift Sword group. I don't know if you guys, who here has heard of Microshift Sword? It just dropped. You guys know I'm a big fan of Microshift, and what's cool about it is they changed their brifter design, so it's all internally routed now. It doesn't have like the big spaghetti noodles coming out. It comes in 1x and 2x options. The one that they just sent is going to be 1x only. The 2x stuff is still in the works. So I dig this because it's all cable everything, cable derailleurs, cable brakes, so you can run whatever cable actuated brakes you want, rim brakes, mechanical discs, cantilevers, good stuff. So this is the Bike Rumor article, and I'm going to point out one thing, which is like my pet peeve with bike industry media in general. Like Bike Rumor is not the only one to do it, but this is why I started this channel, because I feel like a lot of the content is always presented from someone that's raced, someone who has aspirations for racing, someone who's always super fit. And there's always like this like shade about having low gears. So this paragraph here, one of the biggest standouts for the group is how big of a gear range the 2X group will get you. Big compared by modern standards, not so big compared by historical standards. Let's get that. Let's put that in there. So you get 4629. Okay. 4831. Combine that with 1138 cassette, 24% low gear, 0.76 lowest gear ratio. I think that equates to about like 2019 or 20 to 19 gear inches. Yeah. So 24% lower gear than 5034 compact chainring setup with 1134 cassette, exclamation mark. So low. It's not that low, people. This is where I take umbrage. Okay, the 1X is offered with 42 tooth counts. 40 is paired to 1148, and it'll give you 0.83 lowest gear ratio. I think I converted this to gear inches, and it's like 19.9 gear inches. If you can't crawl up any climb with those, it's not the drivetrain that's the issue. It's because of your weak, puny legs. You know what I mean? This is like total like gear shaming. And the thing is, this is like not that low. When I reviewed the Cutthroat, it had 11 to 48 with a 40 tooth, and it's not that low, especially if you're going bike packing. So it's not, this kind of bullshit just drives me up the wall. I don't know. Okay, maybe it's just me. I mean, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys tired of like the low key gear shaming that the bike industry always seems to have? Let me know. Or it could just be me. Could just be me. Okay. Other thing that's coming down the pipeline is this brand called Hitch Cycles. They're actually based in the Philippines, manufactured in the Philippines, and they've been coming up with some really cool stuff. Like they've got these demi porteur racks, which I think look pretty awesome. They do quirky things like this is made for like cantilever brakes. No one does that anymore. But they're sending these guys, which I'm really interested in. It's like a decaler or bag standoff. This one works with a quill stem. You can see here. And what's cool about it is that the crossbar is adjustable. So you can really fine tune where you want the bag to land. They have it for quill. They also have it for threadless. And I love this style of, minimalist decaler. I like Swood, Stephen Wood, but he's always out of stock, right? So people always ask me, where can they get them from? So there looks like there's another game in town. Granted, it's coming from the Philippines. There's going to be a lag time in terms of shipping, but hopefully the quality is good. We'll see. What else we got here? Another thing that's coming down the channel, which I think is kind of cool, is this guy. This is the old school Carradice rear carrier thing. It's kind of like it's a quick release, as you can see in the video, hopefully, and it loops onto the saddle rail. And one thing I like about this is how high it sits, because they have other bag supports, right? Like I have a Carradice Bagman, but the problem with that is if you have short legs and don't have that much saddle to tire clearance, then your bag's going to be slapping the back of the tire. But with this, since it sits relatively high, it looks like, even if you don't have like a ton of rear tire clearance, then it should work for you. I am going to be super curious to see if it works with the Hobo Pieces Restivus. That's one question I have. I don't know if it's size only for the Brooks rails or Brooks saddle loops, but we'll see. So look for that. And yeah, putting on the Brompton's not the best example because if they put on a larger wheeled bike, you could really see the clearance that it would give you. So, okay. So that's what's coming down the pipeline. Hopefully you guys are excited about it. Let's see. We've been going on for 38 minutes. Totally didn't mean to go on this long. Again, I was testing some streaming software before and it didn't work out. And I decided to just fire that because I felt bad. There were like 100 people in the live stream that it totally sucked. Thoughts on using tubeless sealant I wouldn't do it. You're going to be sucking in and blowing that stuff into your lungs. So I'd suggest you don't. A+ for creative thinking though, but that doesn't seem like a good idea. I don't think you want latex in your lungs. Okay. So any last minute questions, comments, deep thoughts? Let's hear it. It's your time. It's your time to shine. Also, what do you guys think of that Grant interview? Did you guys get through it? I know it was long. Sorry it wasn't 60 seconds, but I pulled out a section of it, which was probably my favorite. Grant got really excited. It's also an idea that I had that I wish Shimano would do. And it's if they just made like a classical group set that never changed and just, kind of scratch the itch for us all retro gratches or what have you. But okay. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. There's no flooded questions or anything. So some fans of Grant. Yeah, Grant's great. Loved him. I was stoked he was game to do it. And I'm going to end it here. So thanks all for joining me for a super impromptu live stream while I test out equipment. Again, if you like the content, you know what to do. You know what to do. We have a couple of these left. We've got stickers. We've got some more hats on the way. That's, how we keep this channel going. We don't do sponsored posts, sponsored ads. Although we may when we go to Europe, because it's like we're going to take a dip in the merch. But yeah, support the channel if you can. If you can't, no big deal. Just don't leave any dumb comments. That's all I ask. And as always, keep the supple side down.